Good morning, everybody. This is Coola from Raw Stocks, and we have another edition of our pre-market prep here. Um, and today could be a doozy. Could want to do a shout out to our sponsors, Black Box Stocks and Game Edge. Without those guys, we would not be able to provide you this data and provide you this show. So thank you for those guys. If you're interested in joining Raw Stocks, make sure you go to rawstocksllc.com. Join us. We have a ton of stuff going on, including 6 analysts covering different trades, different styles, different tickers. There is a ton of stuff in there, a lot of content. I don't think you'll be disappointed. So, all right, moving on. today, let's look at SPY. So, taking a look at SPY today, you clearly see that yesterday we kind of had a little bit of a pullback, but overnight we had a large extension off of this. Now, what do you mean overnight? Well, we had a really big push late yesterday and had this push all the way up towards that 6,000 mark, right? We had that big push. Now we're seeing a bit of a pull back, but as of last night, we're almost at 600. Okay, so it really drove up, but right now we've pulled all the way back down to roughly about that 592 area, somewhere in that range. We're about to have data. Okay, so data's about to drop. Let me pull this up real quick. Data's about to drop. We're going to see um, prelim GDP drop here at 7:30. So we've got 6 minutes for some potentially potential volatility coming in, right? So as of right now, let's take a look at just what we have. So currently it looks like 592. It looks like everything's trending up towards the upside. Even if we look at trend box, you can kind of see that we had this little trend kind of breaking, had that nice little push. We're getting an extension. Yesterday's high was as high as 598. We had a similar close to that. VIX is about the same. I'm going to assume that we're a little bit lower, but still going to have that upwards potential up here. Any range between 585 and that. So a pretty wide range right now, but unless GDP is just awful, I mean, I don't really see us, but realistically, your floor's in that 585 zone. We'll see what happens. Okay, so yesterday you could see our options range that we identified in pre-market. We talked about virtually this thing coming up and getting sold down towards this 588 level. Well, guess what? That's exactly what happened. I thought we'd get the recovery back up to 595, and we did, but it was after hours. And so we talked about not playing 0 day. We opened up some swing calls yesterday. We entered right in this candle down here, looking for looking to see if that was going to hold based on the volume and everything that we saw. Actually, it was this candle right here. So we were in it at this point. I said, let's give this a shot. We're in some couple day expirations. It came back over here. Could we have averaged? Sure. No reason to. I still thought we were going to get the bounce here. Both of these moves here were very volatile, very quick. And then, of course, we saw that push. So, yes, today, what are we looking at? So, everybody and their brother is short, right? At least that's what it looks like. Put dominated gamma conditions range between 59.40 and 58.75. So that puts us. Well, let's put this. Let's punch SPY real quick, and then we'll punch SPX. It's already on here. So call dominated 1.85 million, still heavily to the upside today. Clear route here 589 to 582. So this is shrinking today. Very much a range day, but this could be a range day in two different manners here today, right? So the range is tight here, but this could give you direction. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Is if we stay above this range, if we stay above here, we could see that move back up towards that 595 area and potentially up to towards that 599 598 area. You can see very much of a clean path to the upside if that is the case. But we have to hold this 592, realistically hold this 590 split, and I think we could get real bullish into that. But for me, I'd like to see it hold the top side here. You need to see it hold 592 and a half and see if we can get that extension up towards that 595 test. So what do I mean by that? So if we open, right, and chances are we test 592, top of the range, and see if it wants to go and retest 595. At that point, it's going to make a decision. I think if we're pushing to 595, I don't think this is going to be some type of big sell down from here again. I think this would be more so some type of consolidation before we see a move back up towards our pre-market high, which virtually is right around 598.29. I think there's a possibility for us to get hung up here in this range, but ultimately make that up there. We have to hold the top of this range. You can see the top of this range is kind of being expected right now in the pre-market, but we're going to see how that kind of goes with GDP about to drop here in just 1 second. Looking at Nvidia here, clearly good. We had good earnings here. You're sitting at 142, right? We talked about the earnings or the potential containment. Oh, hold on 1 second. So, we talked about over 135 would drive you to 140. Well, we saw that. So where do we head now with Nvidia's earnings? Very much bullish up towards 150. There's going to be a large wall towards at 145 that I think is going to maybe ping pong us between 140 and 145. Okay, so right now sitting at 142. There's a good chance this thing runs up to 145 and gets hung up on before maybe making its way back down towards 140. But if you do start seeing things like 140 slip, wouldn't be surprised to see 135 virtually where our net, where we start going a little bit of a net zero over here. So that is where you need to be watching right here towards that 140 slip. I think there's going to be some profit taking today, especially if we start seeing it slide below 140. It could really get nasty, and we'll see some type of maybe gap closure down here. Just kind of a run everybody's money out, right, for earnings. Let's take a look at what GDP just did. Um, Previous was negative 0.3. We're at negative 0.2. Forecast was negative 0.3, so a little bit better than expected. Let's kind of see how it's digesting over here. Seems to be potentially bullish as of right now. We'll just kind of wait and see. But that's where we're at right now. I mean, it's still not good, honestly. Still not good at all. So, kind of giving you insight right there that not so great, not so great. Okay, so we do 145, 141. Spark the range on Nvidia now. New range, 145 to 141. All right. So this is our range for today. Where will we go in this? Right, talked about it slipping this range up here. If we start to slip this, watch out. As you can see, this thing tried to revisit down this range. There's clearly a divide here. You can see right here, in regards to, some support that puts you right at 135. This is a highly anticipated pivot zone, right? So anytime you break below this, you need to be cautious. 135 is highly respected. So watch this area as a potential pivot zone. But for us today, our pivot zone is up here towards that 141 and 140. So if you start to see something break below this, something's a rise and people are worried about what Trump was talking about, etc. So watch the pivot here at that 141, 140, start to break below this. It's probably a good short into that 137.5, all the way down to about that 135 area. But I wouldn't get too crazy on this. Still solid earnings, but that's the game plan. Pivot on the top is 145 as well. You get over the top of this, look for potential move up to 150. But as you're in a fluid section here, right between 145 and 141, you're all calls towards 145. Start trimming up towards 145. And you're looking for, um, you know, you're looking for shorts up here in this towards this 145 area, but you really don't want to get caught in anything and let it keep going. You just kind of accept the fact that maybe you give it 50 cents, and you're looking for the move down here, right? So you're risking 50 cents up above 145 for the fact that you could get it to return to 141 in your range, right? Okay, looking at Tesla. Let's take a look at it. You can see running yesterday's high here. It's really been a solid performer over the last 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. Really solid performer. Yesterday saw a little bit of a different type of day for it, a little bit of an open and a sell down, and today we're seeing open above the previous day's open. So this is an odd but generally pretty bullish open for a stock when you see this candle set pattern. So we'll see what it wants to do. But everything here is bullish, 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 bullish. So let's take a look at the data real quick. What's the data telling us here? So 365 to 352.5, virtually, I mean, to me, you can tell no one is short here on Tesla for the most part. If they are short, it's it's pretty burnt at this point. It's pretty burnt. So kind of monitoring this area. I know that if we lose 352, it could go pretty quickly. So you need to be cautious of that. So 352 and a half. We're just going to call it 352 up to 365. So we're here at 365. What to do here, right? With Tesla, these are always an interesting area. Talked about yesterday. I talked about probably going to be just straight chopping here. Well, that's what we got, just a little bit lower than what I drew, but and then ultimately got a little bit of sell down at the end of the day. But here we are pressing the top of the range again today. This is where you can start to see some type of distribution over the top of 365. So watch for distribution to continue over the top of 365. Targets like 370, 380, those are all there, but a very much bullish path all the way up towards 400. But you could tell where you start to see some bigger lines being drawn in the sand. The later you get out in expiration, that 400 is almost seems imminent. So if you're a Tesla holder, just 400's coming. Fully believe that 400's coming. It just needs a little bit of time, and it'll get there. So as of right now, That's what it looks like. With all that being said, the range is the range, 365 to 352 and a half. If you start seeing Tesla sell down below 365, you have to give that its respect and say this might be the ceiling for short term. All right. So watch it revisit back towards 352. There's definitely that possibility. You don't want to get too bullish, one directional on Tesla because it will come and it will bite you sometimes. And sometimes it might make you a rich man or woman, whatever. But this is the range right here. So you're short under 365. If it goes over 365, just get out of it. You're looking for a gap close. Tesla is notorious for gap closing, so we'll see what happens there. But bottom of the range 352. So keep an eye on that right there for some type of play where you see a larger sell down. Excuse me. See a larger sell down and then maybe a recovery back up to towards 365, and that could be all in one day. So there's a lot of volatility that could happen there with that. Speaking of volatility, let's take a look at this here. I'm turn on my values here. So VIX has some upside here, right? So a little bit of a sell down before potential move is kind of what that is dictating towards me. So we start looking at this. We're in some positive gamma here. So watch for a potential move up towards 20. And at this point is really where you're looking to see some resistance and maybe the dip get bought. But yeah, so a lot of volatility based on GDP this morning. So let's kind of see how SPY's doing, and then we'll do a little sign off here. So it has come down some. We're back down towards 592. Let's go to extended hours. You can see we're really just kind of sitting here in this 592 area, seeing if this thing wants to get that press back up towards 595, see if it wants to hold our range here. If you start to see it slip, which we're retesting our range right now, but if you see 592 slip, don't be surprised to start seeing things like 589 retested, which is virtually the low side of yesterday. 588, 589. Watch that area as that's 5,900. If we start losing that, then I think truly and honestly, you might see some larger sell-off day. Okay, and I'm talking about the 2.5% day type of event. If we lose that, right? But as of right now, still expect our trend box here to kind of give us the insight. Looks like 585, 580, right in this area would be the absolute low. But if you start seeing that get broken, right, when you get outside of the trend box, anticipation, that's when things can get, very directional. So, for example, my computer this morning, I need to be buying a new one. I don't know what's going on. Open on top of our range here, you can see it got very directional that day. Tried to chop, but got very directional and pushed up. Again, it's a free indicator. So if you're interested in it, make sure you subscribe to Raw Stocks. And if you want to subscribe to Raw Stocks, go to rawstocksllc.com or take a gander at our profiles. God, I swear I don't normally talk like that. If you go look at our profiles, we're also going to have all the links, everything you want in regards to finding out the information about the tools we use, which is Gamma Edge or Black Box Stocks. We use both. I use both of them. Both great partners. Or if you're interested in joining our premium team, then absolutely go to rawstocksllc.com. So hopefully this was insightful for you guys. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on all of the socials. And until next time, we'll catch you later.